Nothing matters. But more on that later. The 20th of May 2022 started out like no other, but turned out to be a pretty important day in my life. I just finished another session of pretending to revise before making my way to see the film I've been excited for since its premiere in early March. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I didn't even really know that much about it going in, only that the buzz around the film was electric. It had soared to the top of Letterboxd's highest rated movies, people were in floods of tears, and that was enough to get me intrigued. But then Your Movie Sucks gave it a freaking 9 out of 10, so this is serious now, get hyped. A film hadn't been this unanimously highly acclaimed since freaking Parasite, and at this point a UK release date hadn't even been announced yet. So I just remember eagerly waiting around for the first chance I could get at seeing it. And after many months, that day finally rolled around. Before going in, I reminded myself, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. People are always too quick in declaring something the greatest thing they've ever seen. Enter with an open mind, and let's just see what it's like.
3 hours later.
Fuck. My first viewing of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was significant to me like I never could expect. For one, it was my first time going to the cinema alone, now a regular occurrence in my life, but it was also the most I've ever cried at a piece of art. The film deeply moved me in so many ways. One minute I'm crying tears of joy at the amount of creativity on display and endlessly inspiring filmmaking, reminding me of why and reinforcing that this is what I want to do. And the next, I'm bawling my eyes out, reevaluating my entire life and my choices and decisions and beliefs. I felt understood, and its sentiments and messaging at that point in time were exactly what I was looking for. During that period of my life, big changes and decisions were constantly happening all around me, confusing and engulfing me, dynamics shifting, and my future a constant reminder of everything I'd yet to achieve or never would in the first place or could have earlier if I'd only done things a little differently. Seemingly the only way out, but a persistent question always on my mind of, what's the point of it all? I feel like it's practically impossible to grow up or even survive the day and somehow escape feeling like this at some point or another. We are overloaded with so much information, inundated with impossible workloads. We pile up the pressure of expectations and demands, then are forced to repress any sense of individuality or curiosity. And then people genuinely wonder, wait, why does everybody all of a sudden want to die? Like, you're telling me I've got to try and actually revise for my exams, figure out the trajectory of what seems like my entire life, attempt to form an intimate relationship with somebody, sustain friendships with people I soon might never see again, not disappoint my parents, keep fit, eat healthy, be happy, all at the same time, and I'm failing at every single one of them? It's too easy to get overwhelmed, and act as if any of us have any idea what the hell is going on. So what is there to do except to let all of it overpower us and give in? Reject everything that we care about so deeply because just like everything else, it is insignificant beyond belief. Why not self-sabotage when death is an inevitability? Moments where we feel even slightly content are fleeting. I'm all alone, and
nothing matters.
I had a very similar experience in high school. I had a lot of dark times, and I think the radical transformative power of joy and absurdity and chasing your bliss is something that I want to bring to the people who were like me when I was that age. And this movie is sort of, it's a shotgun blast of joy and absurdity and creativity and the way it can pull us out of these really dark places. And I really hope that the next generation can watch a movie like ours and just be like, oh, there is another way to look at the bleakness and another way to face it head on.
Suddenly, throughout the course of the movie, this perspective of mine I was increasingly succumbing to was flipped on its head. I was presented with exactly what I was experiencing, all of the confusion, the stress, the emptiness, the disappointment, and asked to just take a step back. And from there, we can see that the universe doesn't make any sense. But we can take solace in that sentiment, because within all of the noise, or outside of it, there is space to make our own meaning. I'd had this idea presented to me before, and it was definitely comforting for a while, but lasted for probably around a day. Some reason never truly resonating with me or sticking around. But here, never before had a piece of art so directly held a mirror up to exactly what I was feeling, told me exactly what I needed to hear in a way that spoke so directly to who I am. Like, of course the movie that changes my life is going to be the one with kung fu with things up people's butts. And because of this eccentric and absurdist nature the film so sincerely strives for and encourages us to embrace, it isn't patronizing or pretentious in its profoundness, instead at first agreeing with and understanding this nihilistic point of view that existence is meaningless, and simply posing us to look at it all another way. Accept that there's no greater point to anything, but allow that to free ourselves. Give your time and attention to those in what you care about, what's right in front of you. The world is crazy, and fulfillment is fleeting, so let's revel in it while it's here. We can never experience everything, but we can cherish what we get to. Find your own purpose, choose what matters to you, and just treat others with love, you know? And that means yourself, too. Because when we allow ourselves to drown within all of the chaos, we can lose sight of who it is that we truly are or want to be. And therefore it's easy to think that we are worth nothing. Believe me, I know. But you cannot let yourself neglect the fact that you are not unlovable. There is always something to love. Even in a stupid, stupid universe where we have hot dogs for fingers, we get very good with our feet. So not only did it shift my entire worldview, and just really help me personally, but on top of all of that, it really is one of the best things I think I've ever seen. With such an insane premise, juggling so many ideas and concepts, you could argue it was destined to fail at some point. But it doesn't. It just works. There's truly nothing else like it out there, with every single aspect contributing and working at 110%. The editing, the choreography, the music. It's a landmark project, providing such an exciting precedent for the future of cinema. Even more so when behind its flashy and maximalist presentation, you keep in mind that it's an indie movie. Notions such as practically all the film's visual effects being completed by 5 people, or the kung fu sequences aided by some guys they found on YouTube, make it all the more influential, and prompt us to use our limitations to realize that there are no limits to what you can create with what you have around you. Its directors Daniel Scheinert and Daniel Kwan have now obviously become some of my favourite artists, and watching them over the course of the year since that first premiere up until the Oscars speaks so eloquently about their process and attempt to come to terms with what their movie means to people and the gravitas of what they have actually created has been forever fascinating. And it's also cool that they are just 2 goofy dudes. As they say themselves, movies can change lives. They have mine. So therefore I implore anybody out there listening, never stop making weird shit. Because you never know who might need to hear it.
Everything, everywhere.
But that's just what the movie means to me. And I love it even more for how it speaks to so many different people from all different walks of life and for a variety of different reasons. Each taking away something truly profound that may be entirely separate from my own experience. Because the film really does tackle everything, everywhere, all at once. And somehow, it pulls it off. I should note that at times since that first viewing, I have fallen back into states of emptiness and regret and disillusionment with the world. And I probably will time and time again because I recognize life isn't one straightforward line. And you know, I'm human. I'm always going to be a work in progress. But what matters is now I know I can always come back to this extraordinary work of art to remind myself that nothing matters. And that's okay.
This is the life.